Babes, what's up? Another interesting chapter. An interesting chapter. We finally get a break. That's 3 weeks in a row. Obviously, it took its toll on Oda. I saw some pretty rude stuff being said about Oda, which is just unnecessary. I mean, that man does so much that it's like, come on. We can't deal with a couple of sketches that are definitely going to be finished by the time they truly release. Like, get over it. Get over it. We're still getting the story, and that's what Oda does. He tells a phenomenal story, and a lot of the time we take the art for granted. And when we get a chapter like this that has some sketches to it, people bitch. Nobody will be happy. Not everyone's going to be happy, and that's just kind of what it is. But a good chapter nonetheless. Not a lot happened, but it seems like Kuma's backstory might be coming to a close, and it almost feels like it's being sped up a little bit. A couple takeaways. Chopper better be on your mind, and I'm going to tell you why here in a little bit. But Chopper was on my mind throughout this chapter. I'm sure you can already tell me why, but it's something I don't see a lot of people talking about. And when I think about Chopper, I think that he has one of the more difficult dreams, one of the more difficult ambitions of the Straw Hats. And I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves for that. But Chopper aims to have no uncurable illness. He wants to cure everything, all of it. Everything that is, he wants to be able to cure it. And this disease that we found out about seems like it might be his final test. I can't say that for sure, but as we turn the corner here, I think that this is slightly a hint towards Chopper. I think that the farther that we get into the new world and the more that we learn and the more viruses like we got from Queen, the more important Chopper's goal and dreams become. But Chopper's the man. I mean, Chopper's the man, and that becomes important. But back to Kuma. He's living it up with the revolutionaries. Guinea got captured, and he's finding out exactly what happened. Taken by a celestial dragon, and she's dying. Now, she never really explains why she's dying, and I think that's something that we're not going to learn for a little bit of time. But the reason she comes all the way back is to give Bonney to Kuma, to take them back to Sorbet. I forget the name of the kingdom. I think it's Sorbet. And poor Kuma, I mean, this is where it starts to get sad. His lifelong childhood best friend and debatably wife passes away. And now Bonney... Another thing, Bonnie's 12, so some of you guys are on alert right now. Some of you guys have the police at your door as we speak. But Bonney is in fact 12 years old. The youngest of, I think, all of the supernovas by a decent margin. I think Luffy would maybe be second place. But we learned a lot this chapter for sure. Brings the kid back after dying to a virus that kills you when exposed to sunlight, which seems like a pretty broken virus. And it seems eerily opposite to what Saturn has shown us for Emu and the other Gorosei. There's so many names and shit to keep in your mind. I got them. It just might take me a second. The computer's not as fast as it used to be. They're all about darkness. They're all about being summoned from like what seems like the underworld, and I think this virus might be how they wiped out a bunch of people earlier. How they could be part of the void, could have been taken out a large amount of the population. So I think that's interesting, and I think it gives Chopper's his final test, which will happen at the end, and he's going to be playing such an important role trying to cure the Sapphire. I'll see the actual name of it in a second, but the Sapphire disease. He takes Bonney, which we're not even sure is his kid. In fact, I don't think it's his kid, because if you remember how Akainu treated Bonney, he didn't treat her like any other pirate. He treated her like a item that he could not even touch, really. So she's clearly part celestial, and obviously that's not coming from Guinea. It's coming from her father. So whoever her father is, it's not really that important. It's kind of one of those situations like, I might not be your father, but I am your daddy. And Kuma is definitely Bonnie's daddy. This large man went from being a part-time dad to a part-time revolutionary badass leader. Just making sure everyone's taken care of. And another thing with Bonney, she doesn't seem like she's part Buccaneer. Just doesn't seem like that's part of her genealogy. So I don't think that it is. We get a little panel of Sabo, which is dope. And then we're finding out that, hey, Bonney might have contracted a bit of this disease herself. And right where she has her like piercing, I think it's actually on this side, her piercing on her face, we're seeing a little bit of the blue stone. We get a little shout out to White Lead, which I like a lot, because it brings us back to, okay, how many incurable diseases, how many diseases wipe people out with like a bunch of BS, And it's really interesting to see. It's called Sapphire Scale. Sapphire Scale. I think I was right. But Kuma aims to heal this, and I think what the only decision that he had is one, as a revolutionary. My little brother actually brought this up. As a revolutionary, the Marines probably didn't like it when this Buccaneer boy with paw powers showed up. And they were like, dude, this guy is an absolute problem to deal with. Like, I don't like fighting that guy. And then somebody's going to come over and be like, hey, your daughter, let me guess, she's got a little sapphire scale on her, huh? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I'll make you a deal. You give us the genealogy of what you are, your Buccaneer giant hoodness, and we will cure her. And Kuma, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. But he's an idiot. His heart guides him. His heart guides him, and it's not gonna make for many good decisions. But he's a big softy, and he's gonna make a bad trade. He's gonna make a bad trade that the government's gonna get him to be the PXs, and we see what a problem they are. What an absolute and utter problem they are. Also mechanizing him to see kind of what he's about, because he's still a full human. Here, I believe this is 7 years ago, which confirmed Bonney being 12. But it is touching. It is sad how much he truly loves Bonney and how that's going to be taken away from him. But what exactly is he doing? I'm not sure. You look at where Kuma's at right now. Everything it took for him to climb the red line. Everything it took to him to get past Mary Joie, to get past Akainu. And he's still going. Where is he going? And I agree with my older brother when he said that it's going to be some endgame shit. Whatever he's doing right now, and it's right, it's going to be endgame. I don't know what exactly it is, but he's playing endgame. And he could be leaving behind a message, a heartfelt message as well, but his humanity is just about erased. I think that what we're going to see that he does for the Straw Hats was huge for the time skip, ginormous for the time skip, and is going to be even bigger what he's deciding to do right now. Because the will carrying him to do whatever mission he is trying to accomplish is insane. Shout outs to Kuma. I don't even know what's going to happen yet, but I told you that this is going to make us cry, that this is going to make us sad, and it's because of what a pivotal character and role Kuma plays in the story itself. Now his country, his town is being burnt. I think that they're targeting him. I think that they understand where he's been going back to, what he's there protecting. And how they treated Guinea was terrible. I mean, it was terrible. But 1 year later, we're about to find out exactly what happened. And the craziest part to me is how quick the mechanization actually happened. Because this is only 6 years ago. Which makes sense, because when Eva sees Kuma at Marine Ford, which would only have been 4 years prior to that, if we're considering the time skip, he was even surprised. He's like, what's wrong with you? Like, we were homies. Like, are you all right? Like, what's going on? And he doesn't even know, and it's sad. But it's cool that we're seeing everything that builds up to exactly what made Kuma decide to make that decision. Whatever Bonney just saw in that. And don't let this take away from the fact, because I had to go back and look. Kizaru's on the floor. Luffy's on the floor. Saturn's about to kick some ass, and Bonnie's about to die, and this is happening in real time. The flashback is about to end. We do have a break week next week, but we'll see what's going to happen. I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter as much as I did. Don't give Oda shit for his sketching. The man's done too much over the last 2+ decades for us to give him shit now. That old man's got it. All right, guys. Peace out.